I trust you. Oh, somebody.
No. Okay. I missed all of that.
We're talking. Okay.
Oh my god. Oh, this is
God.
nerve-wracking.
Usually we talk to ourselves and we can edit out anything that we need to after. So this is a little different for us. But if you ever listen to the podcast, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Track Talk Live.
Welcome to Track Talk Live. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Hannah Picnicki.
That's
okay, go ahead.
I'm Emma Novak, and we are just two girls from Canada who like talking track. That's about it. Thank you all for coming tonight. Like, just the turnout, right? Like, just looking around the room is absolutely incredible. So thank you.
I think Emma started tearing up earlier.
I did. Did you see?
Yeah.
Okay, I did. Yeah, I was tearing up a little bit because I was like, oh my god, like, who would have thought that a year and a half ago when we started this podcast, like, we'd have so many friends and like a little community. Like, it just makes my heart just so full. So thank you again. I'm gonna say thank you like 80 times probably.
Yes. I have one disclaimer. It is echoing in here, but if for whatever reason you need us to speak up,
just
please,
literally go like this.
Like this.
We won't be offended or hurt or anything like that. Okay. So Hannah, how's your day today?
Yeah, we'll chat a little bit between the two of us.
Before we bring the guests in.
Yeah, we have some amazing guests later. So I started my day at 2 a.m. I am so tired. I am very happy to be here, but I had to wait till my clinic for school was done yesterday and then fly this morning at 5 a.m., but the airport's very far from me, so I'm so tired.
But you're here.
I'm here, and you had the luxury of waking up in Nashville. You went out last night.
I did. Jason Aldean's bar is very fun. For those who have not been yet, you should go. Yeah, we got in, me and my best friend were here. We got in yesterday. Yeah, there she is, she's waving. Hi, Carla. Yeah, so just spent the day at the track, the media pen, nothing too exciting.
That is not true.
What?
Nothing too exciting at the track?
Oh,
yo, we saw Logan Sargent at the track.
Sargent is at the track. Anyway, so like raise your hands if you think he's coming to IndyCar. Okay.
Do you think it's gonna be Prema? I think it's gonna be Prema.
I don't think it's gonna be Prema. I think Callum Ilott is gonna be signed for Prema. Like, that's my guess. Okay.
We love Callum.
We love Callum.
Although,
Valtteri?
I feel like, back to Callum. I feel like a lot of people in this room haven't heard your Callum story.
Oh my God, you guys.
need to tell your Callum story.
Okay, Callum Ilott was the first driver I met in Toronto, Indy last year. And like the first driver I've ever met. And like, when you meet, I was starstruck. Like, I literally didn't know what to do. So I'm there with my sister and like, she's just recording, taking photos, right? I go up to him. You're him, okay?
I'm him. I'm pretty sure he went, what?
And I was like, you're a huge fan. Like, nothing that I said was English. And it was just it was embarrassing, first of all.
To the point where she wouldn't even look at the picture of herself and Callum because it brought back trauma.
So now you guys all know and you share that trauma with me. Thank you.
We kind of got redemption with him though.
Did we?
Earlier this year at Thermal. Like, you were civil. You were like...
I don't think I talked to him.
But you didn't go...
Guys, I kid you not. Like, that's what came out of my mouth. I wish I was lying. No. And then, I don't know if you guys like saw or like... Do we have a Thermal episode? We had a Thermal episode.
Oh, it's a YouTube episode for
sure.
It's
a YouTube episode. We were interviewing Nolan Siegel. And literally it was the worst. So I'm standing this way. The sun is there, obviously, and it's like directly in my eye. So as I'm standing here trying to interview him, I'm crying, bawling my eyes out because I'm being blinded, and I couldn't do anything about it. Like, someone's trying to hand me a tissue. Nolan's 19? He's probably like, why is this girl
I know it's
crying?
his first race.
His first Indy race, and I was like, this is embarrassing for me. Like, I'm so sorry. I think I'm cut from the video. I just kept turning my head. It was so bad. Anyway, so we're not
So that time
professionals.
is trauma.
Yeah, we're not professionals in the slightest, but that's okay because we're here.
And we've gotten a lot better at keeping our cool and figuring it out as we go and talking to drivers and talking to people and
Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we can get into it. We can invite our 3 guests on stage. So I'm trying to see them, and I was like, I don't know where they are. Josh, up first. Do you have your intro?
Yeah. If you don't know. Okay, if you're unfamiliar with Josh, I'm gonna intro you. Okay.
Wow. Sorry.
Josh is a motorsports
Stop. The mics, they're for show. So they.
No, they're
Okay, they're not for show. They're not for show. Like you don't hear anything in the room. Like they're for.
This is being recorded for our show.
Yes, this is recorded for our show.
Yes.
It's not for like this room. So if you're
Yes.
just like the mics aren't doing anything, they are eventually. Go.
Good?
We're good.
Josh is a motorsports creator who has traveled around the world creating content for racing series such as Formula One, IndyCar, Formula E. We got to spend the weekend in Portland. It was awesome. And most
Great.
recently, WEC.
Yes.
Yeah. He captures content spanning lifestyle, fan engagement, track action, and motorsport interviews over a cup of coffee. If you don't know, Josh is a barista.
Barista Josh. Give it up for Josh again.
Hi.
Next up, Jordan. Wherever she is. There she is. Hi. Hello.
Where do you want me?
I don't know.
Wherever you want.
Ooh.
Yeah, Josh is
It's in the
scary.
middle.
Okay, if you're unfamiliar with Jordan, she is a marketing and social media professional in the motorsports industry and has years of behind-the-scenes experience working in partnerships, content production, and driver management. She recently launched her own media agency and shares all her industry tips, tricks, and secrets on social media. If you've ever seen the want to work in Formula One, want to work in IndyCar, that's this gal
That's
right
her.
here.
Good for Jordan again. And last but not least, Zoe. Hi! I was like, where is she? Hello. I'm sorry. I feel like I should be standing up, but I'm not. I'm so sorry.
I'm just not getting the hugs at all. It's okay.
It's okay. It's fine.
Okay, Zoe, our final panelist. She's got a love for speed and a passion for motorsport. Who wrote this?
Your manager.
My manager. No, I love it. So you began karting at the age of 11. That is crazy.
Yeah.
She has worked her way up the ladder of the sport, having experience in open wheel, sports cars, and now launching the hot pink stadium super truck through the air. Zoe is inspired to help the younger generation in the sport to reach their full potential both on and off track, and she kills it at that, I must say.
Aw,
Give it up for Zoe and our panelist today. So we wanted you 3 up here just because you have such different viewpoints of the motorsports industry. Content creator, to the business side, to the racing side. We're gonna have a conversation and just share it with the crowd, and we have some questions for you. We'll start off with, each of you has taken a different path to get into motorsports. What was your quote unquote entry point? Like what inspired you to pursue the career that you're now in?
Jordan, go for it.
Voluntold.
Okay, this is supposed to not work, right?
Yeah,
okay.
correct.
So this is right. Okay.
It works, to be clear.
Okay, just to be clear. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Jordan. So, what was the question? What inspired me to
Like
get
how
started?
did you,
Your entry point.
your entry
Okay.
point, how did you get into the
Okay,
motorsports?
so I grew up in a family that was very into motorsports, and so I was always exposed to it growing up. And the older I got, the more I realized, I think I kind of want to work in this. Like my dad took me to some races, and I was like, this is cool. Like I want to be really involved. And so I went to school for marketing, and once I graduated, was trying to apply to teams and series and any way to get in, and just struggled. Wasn't really getting anywhere, and so always kept that dream alive. And always just stayed up to date with what was going on in IndyCar. I loved IndyCar specifically, and then I got a job at an energy drink company who had just started sponsoring race car drivers, and I kind of saw my shot. And so I went to my boss and I said, I want to be involved in this partnership in any way possible, even if it's just sending in invoices or putting together a deck, whatever you need. And so she said, sure, no problem. And so I started doing little things, and then from there my responsibilities grew, and they were like, oh, this girl actually knows a lot about motorsports. She would be pretty good on this project. And so got more responsibility along the way, and then eventually ended up owning the partnership, and then started posting about my job, and then my social media started growing, and then I wanted to help people also work in motorsports because I had such a hard time getting my foot in the door. And so I said, if my experience can help somebody else, that's all I can ask for. And so, yeah, that was kind of like my pathway. And I ended up recently leaving my job, and now I started my own agency. And so I'm now doing creative consulting in motorsport / social media
/ everything.
/ I'm not really sure. We're still figuring it out. But yeah, that was my pathway.
Thank you. Zoe?
I love it. I love it. So I always knew that I loved going fast when I was younger. I was like, just anything. I want to go fast. So I always did a family annual camping trip. So I have a lot of family friends, and I was always riding quads and dirt bikes and stuff, and I hated 2 wheels, by the way, in case you were wondering. Stuck with the 4. I was like, I want 4 wheels on the ground, and then ended up not staying on the ground. But I just had family friends that ended up karting. I was a gymnast before I even started in karting, and my family friend Jagger, he actually now races in Indy Next. He had a go-kart, and he was like, you should come try it out. And I was like, oh, that's so dangerous. I'm probably going to hate it. But you know what? My parents always wanted me to try everything and rule out, okay, you didn't like basketball, you didn't like baseball, whatever. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I loved karting, and then I just made my way up the ranks. I actually was like, okay, I'm kind of decent at this. My mom was my mechanic, so we had to figure it out together.
God.
I had her the whole time, just trying to figure it out with me. She would build my engines. She learned how to work on a go-kart. And so it was just me and her in the beginning, struggling. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna figure this out, but we worked together, and it was so amazing. Something that I feel like a lot of people don't know is karting is such a family sport when you're in the lower levels, especially because you're on track for 15 minutes, and then you come off track and you're hanging around because there's 10, 15 different classes in karting. So when you're sitting around waiting, you're hanging out with your family, you're hanging out with your friends, and it's just such a social sport. As we see now, look at everyone in the crowd. I love it so much. And so, yeah, I just moved up the ranks. I had to figure out that it's not just all fun and games in karting. You have to learn how to market yourself and do everything on the side that I was like, okay, I have to build a social media presence, all this marketing. I have to learn how to build a media deck. I was like, what is this? I didn't go to college. And so, yeah, I just moved up the ranks. I did a little bit of open wheel. So my first sponsor was Gas Monkey Energy. I ran in Formula 4 and then did a little bit of sports car stuff in SRO. And then I came across the Stadium Super Trucks at Mid-Ohio one year.
So
and
cool.
I was like, these trucks are so cool. I want to race one. And can it be hot pink? Is that possible? And he was like, actually, we have the perfect hot pink color. So it was so good, and I just love the Stadium Super Trucks. It's such a cool series. It's very fan-based, especially we raced last year here, and it was so amazing, launching the trucks, coming across the bridge, so much fun. But yeah, that's how I got started.
God, I love that.
We need to get to the Stadium Super Truck event.
Yes.
Long
We
Beach.
need to. Long Beach?
Long Beach, okay.
Give me
That
a
on
reason to
our
get to
calendar.
California. We're good.
I got you guys.
California, do you need another reason to go to California? I'm biased. My unserious answer is Daniel Ricciardo, because that was where all my videos were initially that made me switch all my content from coffee over to Formula One.
Was it actually Daniel
Yeah,
Ricciardo?
it was. It was 3 Daniel videos. They may have been thirst traps, who knows? You'll never find them though, because they're 2,800 videos out. So good luck.
Someone start scrolling now.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But I grew up sort of into racing. One of my best friends was into NASCAR, and then I got into high school and just didn't really enjoy it as much. I'll be honest. There's not a lot of time to follow sports when you're in high school and college, is what I realized. And then randomly, Formula One popped up on my TikTok For You page, right before COVID hit. So great time to get into it because nothing was happening. But I just remember I would come back from working at the coffee shop and I'd watch the race highlights and Drive to Survive. Thank you for giving me all this inside information that I never knew. And then literally I'd been posting coffee content. I was in the coffee industry for 8 years, and I just randomly one day I was at the beach and I made a video about Daniel, and it did really well, and I did that a couple other times, and I was like, let's switch it, and here we are. So obviously it went decently well. But yeah, it's been fun. I think like my side of things is so much different than either of these two. Like the fastest I've gone a track is in a 2-seater, which was pretty fun. The scarier one was yesterday down the streets of Nashville for sure, even though it was slower, but you know.
Still the streets of Nashville,
Yeah,
so yeah.
The
it was still
wet
fun.
streets of Nashville.
The wet streets of Nashville.
Yeah.
But it's been a really fun journey, and I think for me, like one of my favorite things is I've met so many people from around the world that I would never have known, and I think that part is one of my favorite parts. Like just being able to go to like Europe, Australia, other parts of the U.S. and like knowing all these different creators like has been like one of my favorite parts. So it's been a really fun journey.
Do you ever find it weird when you meet someone, you're like, this happened to me so many times tonight, like, I know you, but like, we don't know each other. But we know each other because we've interacted online. I'm like, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of Callum and I when we first met, because we had DM back and forth, Callum Isla and I, and then we like randomly like met. I was like, we've talked for like a year, but we've never actually talked in person. Like, are we friends? Are we cool? Are we good? Like,
I'm really glad your first social interaction with Callum was
yeah.
good.
My voice was like a little more low pitched, I think, but other than that, it was good. Like,
Yeah, great.
yeah.
Amazing. Guys, I'm traumatized.
Poor
No,
Emma.
seriously.
Again, question for all of you. Motorsports, like biggest challenges. Like, what do you think the biggest challenges are facing? Oh my gosh, I can't even read it. Like facing motorsports today that affects you in content creation, in racing, in marketing, and like how are you trying to overcome it?
Accessibility.
Accessibility, as in like IndyCar, like streaming accessibility. I said sexability. My bad.
It's fine. We all know what happened with Willpower earlier today, so.
It's okay. It's good.
That makes her sound terrible.
What do you?
No. We know mine was worse. It was fine.
What do you mean accessibility?
I think like when you talk about like the actual track side of things, I think like IndyCar, Formula E, WEC, other things are great when it comes to accessibility. You know, some series are a little more expensive, but it's always going to be the money side of things. And then, you know, it's not like having. I think the weird thing about racing is you could like live in Tennessee and be like a Titans fan, and the stadium's right there, or like or whatever. But racing just happens, depending on the series, all around
Everywhere.
the world, all around the country, and it's like. You know, living in LA, like technically the closest race to me is Vegas, which is like a 5-hour drive, and then the next closest is Austin, which is 21 hours if I want to drive there. So it's like it is like I think there's certain things that are just like make it a little bit tough for people to like actually go to races in person. But I do think there's like a lot of great ways that a lot of the series make it really accessible online, which is helps make up for how hard it can be for some people to like watch it in person.
People always ask us, like, oh, you're from Canada, so you must go to like the Montreal GP. I'm like,
No.
It's like closer for me to go to a different country. Like, no.
Yeah, I think you were talking about the money thing, obviously, with the racing side of things. It's just such a struggle with sponsorship. Like, finding sponsorship is just honestly something that I didn't know when I started karting. If I knew, I probably would have been a little bit better prepped on my career choice. I've been like, okay, maybe I should actually go to college and like study something, how to figure this out. But I think experience honestly is like the best way. But sponsorship and just this helps so much because bringing so many people to the sport, especially the young generation in IndyCar, is finally like making a big step, which I feel like helps bring in sponsorships and brand deals. And like now we get to work with like beauty companies and clothes companies, and that's kind of bringing a different side of like, oh, there's another avenue, because they say, okay, if there's just a bunch of like guys watching IndyCar or whatever it is, they have wives too that are also watching, and they have daughters. So it's becoming such a different avenue, I feel like, that we're actually getting accessibility to different sponsors and all that. But it's definitely a challenge that I was not prepared for, and it's just always been a struggle with when, especially the feeder series, they don't do the same coverage that IndyCar does. So how are you supposed to sell when they only stream on like YouTube or some series? Like when I raced Formula 4, there was no streaming. I was like, okay, wait, how am I supposed to sell this? Like, there's no streaming. So that's why building a social media presence was so important when I was young, because I was like, okay, well, this is the only thing that I can sell at this point, because the media coverage in the latter series, there's not much. So yeah, I would say sponsorship is the biggest struggle. And how I'm overcoming it, I'll get back to you on that, because it's still rough.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
I would say, from my perspective, the biggest, one of the biggest hurdles, at least that I see, is kind of because everybody knows Formula One, right? It's like Drive to Survive. It's the biggest thing. Kind because I'll tell people, oh, I'm going to Nashville. And they're like, oh, what are you going for? And I'm like,
Bachelorette.
oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, what?
Bachelorette.
Yeah. Are you, no. And I say, oh, I'm going for the IndyCar race. And they are like, oh, is it like an F1 thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. And they're like, is that a NASCAR thing? And it's kind of, I feel like, I think that there needs to be more, and I've noticed this also on my end of things when I'm trying to pitch kind of like, you know, a sponsorship or working within marketing, like, oh, we're marketing this IndyCar race, and they're like, well, is that like Formula One? And people just don't quite understand. I think there's like a lack of education on the different series, and I think that it all comes down to just at the core of it, it's all just marketing. Like I think that there needs to be an increased presence and not in these traditional methods, but I think, and it all comes down also to social media. Like social media is so important, and it's kind of like the way that we all consume our news, and it's the way it's just kind of like, I mean, I don't know who still watches the news. I don't watch the news on TV. I get all my news from Instagram and TikTok, which is probably a really bad way to get news, but that's where I get it from. And so I feel like if like IndyCar and NASCAR can kind of make the same social footprint as Formula One has, then when I tell people I'm going to Nashville for the IndyCar race, they will know what I'm talking about. And I think that just takes time. Like it's not something that can just, I mean, I don't know, at least with Drive to Survive, like it took me 5 years to finally watch it. I don't know why it took me so long. But I think that it like it takes time, and I think they're doing a great job with the IndyCar CW series. I think that needs to keep going, and it's just an education that needs to happen. And then when I go to a brand, or I'm working with a driver, or I'm working with a team, and I'm trying to communicate that with brands and sponsors, they know what I'm talking about and it's an easier sell because of the social media presence and just the general public knowledge of, oh, we all know what IndyCar is. People know the Indy 500. Mm-hmm. When I'm like, they're like, oh, what do you mean IndyCar? I'm like, oh, do you know the Indy 500? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh yeah, like I know that.
But then
I'm
they
like,
think it's like just
yeah,
that.
I'm like, did you know there's a whole series around that? Like every other weekend? They're like, oh my God, no way. So I think that it's, and again, there's like there's a really rabbit hole of the conversation, but I think it just, to overcome that, just needs to be like an increase in this new Gen Z way of marketing, honestly.
Yeah, we earlier today we were at the track and filming with Pietro Fittipaldi, which was a great experience. And he said like it's so great working with, he like gestured to us like you guys, as in like content creators, like a different form of media as opposed to like the news, that sort of thing. So like,
definitely.
Even though he was just one voice, it is appreciated, and like the drivers know that it's also needed. Mm-hmm.
I think also too, like a lot of drivers that I've talked to, and some of them that I work with, understand the importance of social media, but a lot of them are like, I just want to drive. Like I do not care about social media. I just want to get in the car and win. Like, and I think that it's an education on both sides, where it's like an education of fans and the general public of like what IndyCar is and what like, you know, motorsports is. But I think the drivers, a few that I've interacted with, are like, well, I don't care that I only have, 50K followers. I'm like, well, one, that's a lot. But two, like, it's really important because that's selling sponsorship, and it's a new avenue of media that didn't exist. Like, it's not just the news. It's not just like Channel 4. It's like, no, this is, a lot of people get their news only from Instagram and TikTok. And if you're not on there, you're not in the news. Sorry.
I always go, like, I'm going to pick on Emma for a sec because she loves Lance Stroll in Formula One. And I always pick on him because I'm like, because he doesn't.
Why is that picking on her?
Because it's Lance Stroll.
I like him. I like him.
I love Lance. I love him.
I wouldn't go that far, but I like him.
Well, okay,
but
my issue with him is he doesn't do media, and it's not just him, it's other drivers too. Like I said, I'm picking on Emma because she loves him.
I love
but him. It's like, that is how, like, why do you think that people are fans of Pato, of like David Malukas? That's because they are interacting with their fans. They have a presence online. That's how you gain fans. Marketing, absolutely, but like, people follow drivers that they relate to, and that 100%. They think that's their friend,
I had a driver's team reach out to me not too long ago, and they said, can you get we want our driver to get to like 100K followers. Can you do that? And I'm like, it depends how big of a personality can he have.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that is
Are they fun?
Yeah, like that's the biggest piece.
What are you willing to do on
that? How much are you willing to do? Exactly that will correspond to your level of followers.
Well, put Emma in charge of Lance Stroll's content from now on. Get into some TikTok trends.
The amount of times I DM Aston Martin, like, I don't know if you ever scroll through and like look. That's a lot.
Oh my god, I didn't know.
If Fernando
that.
can do it, he can do it.
I know. Guys, I was like the one of 2 Lance Stroll fans at the Spanish Grand Prix.
No, you're one.
Oh,
of,
Spanish?
you're one of 2 that exist.
Was it Oh, it was a Spanish Grand Prix. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm done.
Look, I would love to see my Canadian man on the grid do well.
He does well.
Adrian knew he might do well next year. We'll
All
see.
right, I understand. Whatever. Moving on.
I always pick on you with Lance. I'm sorry.
I love Lance.
I know. Live
moving
Lance.
on. Changing the topic, something less negative, because I know, like, obviously there's always challenges in motorsports, but there's highlights as well. So what has been your most, like, memorable moment, either fan interaction, driver interaction, like anything on social media, like something that just really, really stands out and like maybe has helped you or kind of changed the way you work or how you see motorsports? Like, what's just best moment? Floor is yours.
That is tough. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer first.
I'll go first.
You guys, I sent you the questions ahead of time.
And they all left my mind as soon as I picked up the microphone.
I said, here are the questions.
Nobody read those, Emma.
Oh, I read them. They're just gone. My brain's, it's been a long day.
Okay, so best moment for me,
Thank
I
you,
would say, is like one of the best moments. Obviously, any fan interaction and like seeing little girls come up is always so fun and so memorable. Like every single one, especially Long Beach is like such an iconic race and people go every single year. So I've raced now 3 times there in the Stadium Super Truck, and I missed 1 year because I didn't find enough funding. And everyone was DMing me, and I was like, I'm gonna start crying.
Heartbreaking.
But it was so sweet, and so I think those experiences and like seeing people keep coming up to you and like seeing these little girls. They brought a picture from last year, and like they were like 5 and now they're 6, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the cutest thing ever. But in racing, my favorite moment, and I think about it probably like once a week, honestly, was the first time I scored points in Formula 4 at Mid-Ohio as well. And it was with Nathan, our engineer, who now is an HMD engineer. He was for Nolan Siegel, and now he works for Christian Brooks. But he was in Formula 4, and to watch engineers also that like, and karting people go through the same thing and like move up the ranks just like you, it's like so amazing to see it. And so just having that moment with him and like us scoring points and like the team being so excited was just like my favorite moment of all time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna think about this for the rest of my life until
As
I'm
you
like
should.
first in like F1 or something. Just kidding. IndyCar maybe.
Oh, we can manifest.
It's gonna happen.
We can manifest.
So yeah, that was like one of my favorite moments. And then all the fan experiences are just like every time it touches my heart, I'm like, it's just
You know what?
amazing.
There's when we were at the 500, I just remember seeing like little girls like on the other side of the fence outside of Catherine Legg's
Oh my gosh,
like
I
pit
was-
stand
yeah.
and just like waiting for her and watching her just like in awe. And these are like young girls too, and so it was just it's so inspiring. Like
It is. It's like you have to remember also, like being a driver, that those people and those fans are what make us allowed to race. So like I always like tell drivers too, I'm like, I know it like sometimes sucks when you have to go to that autograph session, but like think about it, like they keep us here in being able to do what we do.
I think for me, a little different side of things.
That's
I think
great.
like a lot of things that like stand out as like interesting things, but I was thinking about it, and the one that really stands out is I got to go to Singapore in 2022 for the race. It was the worst weather I've ever experienced in my life for a race. It was, if you didn't watch it, it was one that was delayed by like an hour and a half because of rain. Because the grandstands were like flooding. It was crazy. But it was my like second time of meeting up with a group of people that I just knew online, a whole bunch of different creators. And like that experience is always so fun. It's always a little nerve-wracking. It's like, all we've done is text and message. I hope we get along. And it was like such a great squad. But then also like to go to like the fan side of things, everyone was so like hospitable in Singapore. Like all the locals were like, you should go here, you should do this, you should do this. Like everyone was so accommodating, and I think like that part is so fun, like being able to go to another city, another country, whatever it might be, and like getting people that live there that are like so hyped for you to be there, to like experience like what they get to experience every day. And I think, I mean, that's one of the things that has always drawn me towards like F1. And I just wish it was cheaper to go to races because I would go to every race every year because there's just so many cool countries to go to. But those like little moments with people that are like, oh, love what you do. Like, or you got me, like, I watched you because of F1 and now I watch like WEC and IndyCar. I was like, yes, haha, gotcha. Let's go. So I think those like little moments, like there's like so many of them, but like that one is the one that like really stands out.
Nice.
I would say the most memorable, like watching a race. Does that count?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it does. No.
Okay, that's great. I'm gonna tell it anyway. I think that for me, it was in 2011. I wasn't there, but I was watching the Indy 500, and it was the 100th running, not the 100th anniversary, but the 100th running. And no? 100th anniversary. That's my brother. He knows more than me.
I was going to say,
it was the 100th
108,
anniversary. Okay, not the 100th running. And it was turn 4, and Jared Hildebrand was going to win it. He was leading, going into turn 4, last lap, and he crashed into the wall. And Dan Weldon just flew by. I mean, he almost still won. He crashed into the wall, totaled his car, and he almost crossed line in first, but Dan Weldon, who was driving the 98, just came around and just took the checkered flag. And nobody was expecting that. Everybody was like, J.R. Hildebrand's going to do it. I think he was a rookie. Fact check, brother. Yeah, he was a rookie, and so it was a big moment, and then just out of nowhere. And I'm sure if you've watched there's a movie about Dan Weldon called Lionheart, and it's amazing, and it talks about how that was he wasn't even running a full season that year. He was on a partial team that Brian Herta put together. They ran a few races, and the 500 was one of them. And I just love that because that, to me, I remember watching that, and my mom was like, see, that's why you never give up. And because imagine if Dan Weldon was just I'm going to lose, and just let off the gas, but he kept going all the way to the end, and then he won it. That for me honestly taught me so much, and I'll never forget that. I wasn't there. I wish I was, but it was, that's my favorite moment in all of motorsports ever.
Love that.
That's amazing. That's such a good answer.
Do you have a favorite moment?
When I cried when Charles won Monaco at the 500 this year.
Yeah.
Mac and I are in line for lunch in the IndyCar Media Center at the 500, and I was bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's my favorite. It's the first thing that came to my mind.
No, fair.
Do you have a favorite?
Oh my gosh. I'd say this year's 500.
Yeah.
Watching Joseph Newgarden win, but because we have friends on that team, so just it's like watching my friends win.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I cried. I was so excited for them. Just Kaitlin Brown, I think if you've listened to our episodes, she's one of the tire changers, mechanics on Joseph's car. So watching her win, that was, I think, pretty special.
She would have been here tonight, but Joseph had to host a dinner at
Joseph
his house.
just had to host a dinner. No, but I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My phone locked.
You're good.
Okay, because this is obviously IndyCar's last race of the season, we're going to talk about IndyCar. IndyCar is based in the U.S., obviously, and it has a growing international fan base. There is someone here from Ireland.
We're here.
There she is. That's insane. How do you watch?
I just asked that too.
I have paid for the IndyCar website,
Yeah.
and then I can only watch the race on Sky F1.
Oh my gosh.
It's the only place I can watch it. So if it, sometimes it's slightly delayed. So
Can you watch qualifying and everything?
yeah,
You can.
yeah. I mean, it normally is on unless it clashes with F1, then it's not on.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I bought it on the website because that's the easiest way for me to watch it.
That's fair. So question for you guys, just your opinions. How do you see IndyCar expanding its reach globally? What do you think they're doing right? What do you think can be improved?
Bringing you guys.
What?
When they bring you guys out.
What'd you
I was
say?
like, what?
When they bring so many content
Yes,
creators,
yeah.
I think that's the best way to expand globally, because there's a lot of people that it's easy to find F1 content on social media, and there's a lot of F1 content creators I feel out there, but then it's kind of hard to find IndyCar specific content creators. And so when you guys are educating the F1 audience, starting out with F1 and then getting more into IndyCar, that's just like such a way that I feel like is bringing so many people into the sport internationally, at least.
Yeah.
We have this is kind of niche. We have a big German audience. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I gotta go one day.
Yeah, I don't know.
Germany loves us.
Germany loves us.
And everyone, isn't it kind of funny?
I talk live in Germany. We'll see you all there.
Next year in Munich, let's do it. And they always message us like, where, like, how can we watch
How do we
this? I'm like,
watch? Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
I'm
But
sorry.
I'm trying. So
yeah.
so yeah, it's definitely like, I'm not, like, that's just a very small part of it, but like that, it does make a difference when you have that F1 audience that you then kind of like shift a little bit.
I would say tap into what you already have. So, like, I mean, I think the obvious one is Pato, right? Like, he has this crazy fan base. They're not crazy. It's great, but there's a lot of them. And
don't wanna offend anybody.
It's a big fan base.
it's big. It's
love you,
huge, and
Pato.
he's doing FP1 at Mexico GP,
Yeah.
which is great. But I think that, like, we already have that fan base, right? And I think, and anywhere he goes, like, I remember we went to Texas Motor Speedway and they did the race there. RIP, I love that race. But it was a couple years ago, and like, I mean, it was like half the people there were Pato fans. So it's like anywhere he goes, there's people. And I think just tapping into that, like, I think maybe like exploring a race in Mexico City. Like, I know that they kind of were talking about something like that. I think that maybe start by doing that, tapping into what you already have cultivated rather than like, oh, we're going to do a race like somewhere where there's not really a fan base quite yet, but you already have this massive thing. Let's just like tap into what you already have. I think that's like a great place to start, at least, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, basically everything. I don't know. I think when it's I think it's always gonna be hard to get people in on a more regional racing series when they don't live in the U.S. But it is crazy to see how many people do comment and say, I'm like, oh, I've like started watching IndyCar. Like, where do I watch it? It's like, I don't know. They could be like Formula E and just stream it on TikTok if they want to. But like,
Do they do that?
they do that, yeah.
Formula East just streams it
Yeah,
on TikTok?
well, I mean, that's not the only place they put it, but yeah, that's
Well,
one
no.
of the spots they
Oh
put
my god, I
it.
had no idea.
Yeah, they put the live broadcast right on TikTok, so sometimes you'll just be swiping, you're like, oh, Formula E practice is on.
Oh my god,
I got
love
banned
that.
on TikTok for live streaming a race. I put the.
Well, this is
yeah.
Formula E's account, Zoe.
Whose race?
Long Beach. I put my
Your
phone.
race?
I put my phone.
People do that for Taylor
I'm
Swift
sorry, okay.
concerts all
No,
the time.
no, I was racing and it was like on board, and I put my phone because we don't have windshields on the stadium super truck.
Oh,
and
cool.
I like had a little phone stand, and I put it on my truck, and I
they
zip
banned
tied it.
Weren't you scared that your phone was gonna like?
I was.
I mean, you.
This is the craziest story I've ever heard.
Robbie, if you're watching this, please, you didn't hear this, but before the green flag, I was like reading seeing, I was like, who's watching? Because we sit there for a while, okay? So I was like,
And you got
looking
banned
through.
from TikTok?
Yeah,
for
after
that?
like 2 laps, I saw it was like, you've been banned. I got like a notification,
Oh, it's
and I was
probably
like,
dangerous.
wait, can I fix this? Like,
As you're, oh my god.
There's a photo somewhere of Zoe in the air over a jump trying to like, you're like,
Like-
no, unban me. It's fine.
I was like, it's fine,
AI.
it's safe. I'm wearing a helmet.
That's the craziest story I've ever heard, Zoe.
Yeah, I don't know why Robbie let me do it in the first place, but he was like, yeah, sure.
Did he
you
know?
can-
He know? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he knew. He set it up for me. He was like, we should probably zip tie it. And I was like, you're probably right. I mean, you know more than me. So yeah, I got banned from TikTok Live and had to appeal it. And I was like, please,
Been there.
I'll go back to the get ready with me.
Was
I'm
it?
sorry.
Okay, now I'm curious. Were you like banned because it was like unsafe?
Yeah, it's
promoting
dangerous
dangerous-
activity.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes
Oh,
if you
okay.
like
It's
have
not that
a,
dangerous.
like
It's not. I'm like, I see some other videos. I'm like,
TikTok's
or
doing
they'll
a lot these
yeah,
days.
they'll have like
TikTok,
the warnings
yeah.
up that takes up half the. I used to make like Avengers edits on TikTok and like sometimes
Go into that.
no, but like if
She
it's like
did hold Thor's hammer today.
oh my
That
god,
is
it was
true.
so cool. But it would show like a warning, like don't try this at home. Like I'm not even like it's fake. Like this isn't real. That's so interesting though that you got.
it was so random. And I was like, okay, I won't do that anymore.
Maybe yeah, maybe don't.
I was like,
You should try it again. Actually, I
I think
that
I
it would
should.
go well.
I should. Maybe like Indie
it
Next,
to, like,
put it on the
YouTube.
little
They'll be fine with it.
halo.
Okay, let's talk about the future of motorsports. Like, where do you see it heading in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, obviously, in the last 2-3 years, we've seen like such a crazy growth in fans, especially in IndyCar F1. Do you see it just continuing on this like upward kind of spiral? Is not the word I'm trying to find, but
Returning
upward, without
trajectory.
turning upward or
Oh,
Like,
Emma and words sometimes.
Oh,
big words.
no.
We're working. We're doing a word of the day. What's today?
Oh,
Do you know?
Oh my god, okay.
I'm not kidding. This is something we do.
I love a good word of the day.
Oh, I think I deleted it to make space, so I don't actually have the app anymore.
That's okay. It's
But-
trajectory. That's the word of the day.
Oh, that's the up, right?
We're giving you the word of the day. Yeah.
Traje-
Upwards trajectory. Or the trajectory is just the way it's going. Why is that a hard word to say? Trajectory.
Trajectory.
Yeah.
Is it always up?
No, you
No.
could be on a downward. But that'd be more of a
But
spiral.
in this case,
That
it's
would
going
be
upwards.
Okay. Where do you see where do you see the future of motorsports in the next 5 years?
I mean, I think personally,
I don't know words.
F1 obviously has the biggest influx of fans over the last few years, but I think there is definitely a sense of fans trickling into other sports. I mean, the viewership for the 24 Hours of Le Mans this year, and has grown. A lot of F1 fans watched that and got them interested in WEC and the Indy 500 and NASCAR and local series. So I think there's going to be a trickle down, especially if we get back into a classic F1 state of someone's dominating, which is not this year. Come on, Lando. That's another.
Sorry, are you
that's
a
another-
Lando fan?
No, sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah,
couldn't even
don't
tell. Oh
worry.
my god.
I know, it's pretty subtle usually most of the time.
Don't say
But
the O word.
What?
Don't say the O word.
Oscar?
What's the
No, I
O
love
word?
Oscar Piastri.
What's the O word?
Don't say the O word.
The O word is orange.
I love Oscar Piastri. He's a great man.
Orange.
Um,
It's not orange.
Oh, Oscar, right?
No.
You're going
The
for
O
Oscar.
word is orange.
Oh,
You can't.
they
yeah.
don't say the word orange.
Oh, yeah, it's papaya.
Yes.
Yeah, come on now.
Contractually.
Okay, yes.
I don't know, but when we
I believe it.
I told this story in the podcast Kaitlin did with me this week because Emma unfortunately hit her head.
Yes, I'm good. We're great.
I'm not kidding.
No, guys, I was.
So we
concussed. Yeah, it's
interviewed
great.
last year when David signed with Arrow McLaren. We had him on the show, and we were doing a word association game. And I think I said the word.
You said papaya.
I said the word papaya maybe, and he was like, "Oh, I don't want to say the O word." And I was like, "What word are you talking about?" And then he's like, "Orange." I'm like, "What? You contractually can't say orange." And then Kaitlin and I were talking about it. We're like, "Sophie, you have to order orange juice in the morning." You're like, "Papaya juice, please." What? Anyways, sorry.
No, that's great. But yeah, I think it's just cool to see a lot of fans going to other racing series, and I think that will continue to happen. And if there's still an influx like we have, I think there's going to be new fans all the time in different series, and I think that's cool to see. And some will stick around, some will only watch some of the bigger races, but it's always cool to see people branch out. And as more drivers go to other series as well, I think that always helps bring fans to new series.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Kyle Larson when you guys were talking about growing an audience. I know that's not a global audience, but we witnessed firsthand this year. I know Zoe, you were there at the 500 too. The Kyle Larson effect was crazy.
At the 500,
Yeah.
it was
even today.
insane.
We were driving out of the track, and the McLaren merch still has Kyle merch, and I was like, wow, that's
He's trying
doing it
again.
again.
He's trying again.
Run it back.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're at.
I don't know if you had the
Question?
repeat. The future of motorsports. Where do you see it going? Where do you want to see it going? It can be from a social media angle, from a fan perspective.
I think it totally depends. I think that it's going to continue going upward. I don't see it going downward. I think there's
Upward
this
trajectory.
Word of the day.
I think there's this general interest that's been piqued, and there's a lot of people. There's eyeballs on it now, so I don't see it going downwards, but trajectory. But I think it totally depends. I mean, I think if Logan Sargent comes over to IndyCar, which I believe is very possible and would love to see, I think that could do amazing things for IndyCar. I think Prima coming over and starting a new team is amazing. I feel we haven't seen a new team in IndyCar in a while. McLaren, but besides them, they're big. I guess Prima's also big.
They're big in the on the European side.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I think just having that name brought over to
Yeah.
the American side, IndyCar
Yeah.
side, it's going to bring fans.
I think it's going
with
to
it.
bring a lot of crossover fans, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to bring fans of F2, F3, and then bring them over. I think it depends who goes where. I think because the drivers are who have the following, right? It's a very unique sport where it's I mean, I don't really know a lot of Dale Coyne fans. You know what I mean? They're fans of the drivers, and so I'm sorry.
I know
Is
a
there
few.
people here with Dale Coyne? Did I hurt your feelings? I hurt your feelings? Oh no. Are you a Dale Coyne fan?
They're here
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
We can
Don't tell Dale I said that.
No, but it's true. Like, people are fans of the drivers more often than not.
I'm done with the question.
I understand.
Yeah, I would agree with honestly both of those. I think that like bringing, if this keeps going, if we just keep working the same way that it has been the past 2 years, even if it's a slow growth of like bringing in more fans, that also helps in bring more sponsors, and then we can have more like Elf Cosmetics and Catherine, more drivers. See me on the grid in like 2025 or 2026 maybe.
Manifesting it. We're here for it.
Manifesting it, all of you. But yeah, I think that's the best way. Is I think we're on a good path as long as we stay on it. I think that the future of motorsports is bright.
Oh my God, I almost dropped it. What advice would you give to young fans aspiring to be content creators, race car drivers, or like work in the industry? Like, what's one piece of advice you would give? Oh my God, don't all rush.
Don't.
Answer.
I'm kidding. I don't know.
This is your last
Sometimes I
serious
wanna
question
say-
too.
Yeah, last.
It's like, do it if you
Have the heart.
have the drive. I mean, I think it's anything.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. That was a tough one. And I wasn't even trying to make a funny pun. I don't know. I think so. I'll come from the content side of things. Content like creators, influencers are not a new thing at the end of the day. They're new in the world of motorsports. And I think if you want to do it as a full-time thing, just know like you're gonna put in a lot of work and you're gonna go through a lot of crap through the years and like not get paid for a lot of things, or like just it's gonna be a lot of grinding. I mean, I went to my first 5 races I went to, I paid for everything. I just wanted to go. I wanted to see people. I wanted to meet people, like be a part of everything. And I think that probably did lead to some things. But at the end of the day, like the content side of things is always going to be hard, especially now there's so many more voices than there used to be. And like teams are getting involved, drivers are getting involved. Like the amount of people that did content like when I started was much smaller. Like I think McLaren was like the only one that did TikTok when I started doing like content. And now it's like somehow Steak is like the king
Oh,
of
they're
of
so
F1
good.
content.
Yeah.
They don't have a fast car, but at least they can do TikToks funny. So that was close to a spit take. I'm so sorry. But it's like I think you can do anything if you work really hard, and I think the content is going to continue to have a upwards trajectory. To use the word of the day, and I think it's going to be cool to see like different things that people do as like the years continue.
I'm scared to talk.
Just like don't mention a team or a person or like, anything that can get you in legal trouble.
No.
I'm kidding.
Okay, pass.
Zoe?
Can we go back to the question?
I forgot the question, to be quite honest.
What advice would you give to people that want to be in this industry, either as content creator, as a race car driver, as someone just, wanting to work in the industry?
Okay, I would say it's kind of hard because I know there's like a lot of introverts and stuff, but you have to talk to anyone and everyone. Like even just getting into racing and like motorsports in general, any type of racing, you have to go talk to people and tell people your story, and that's gonna just help you. And meeting people is your like best bet, I would say, to just getting anywhere, whether it's content creation, whether it's racing, any type of, I feel like it's just like a good life skill that like you have to do, and it's hard, trust me.
Networking?
Like walking
Yeah,
up to someone and being like, hey, McKenna walked up to me at Long Beach and she was like, you're the only person I know in this room. We were at like a media luncheon and she was like, you're the only person I know in this room. I was like, come sit with me. And I don't even know what I'm doing, and I think I have to do a speech, and I don't even have a speech prepared, and I'm scared, so I'm just gonna talk to you too. So it's always those good experiences that come with such a great outcome that it's hard to just go up to someone and be like, hey, I'm Zoe, nice to meet you. So yeah, I would just say that's probably like my best piece of advice.
Put yourself out there.
Put yourself out there. And then if you want to be a race car driver, you have to literally drive anything. I'm sorry. I'm like, if I didn't want to drive a stadium super truck at first, and I was like, it looks kind of scary, but you know what? I'm just gonna try it. And same with like sports cars. I've tapped into so many different types of racing, and just getting track time and getting that seat time in anything possible is the best way to do it.
I'll try again.
Okay.
If you want to work in motorsport, I would say that my biggest piece of advice would be keep an open mind, because things a lot of the time don't, like your opportunity might come, wrapped differently than you would expect it. Like for me, I wanted to work in motorsport so bad, and I was applying to all these teams like I talked about, and it just didn't pan out. I got this job with this energy drink company and was like, cool, I'll get like free energy drinks. But I had no idea that it was going to turn into like what it did, and it really was my foot in the door into the motorsport space. So I think if you want to work in motorsport, keep an open mind. Try to narrow down what you want to do, because I'll have a lot of people message me and they're like, I want to work in motorsport, I want to work in F1. I'm like, that's great, like what do you want to do? And they're like, anything. And I'm like, okay, let's like pick maybe like one thing. And because there's a big difference between like finance and like engineering. I don't know, I don't think those skills transfer. So I would just recommend like getting as specific as you can about what you want to do, and then just keeping an open mind, and like kind of the same thing, like being willing to like introduce yourself to anybody and everybody, like especially at races. Like you never know who you might be talking to, who might like get your foot in the door, connect you with somebody else. So I just think that it's even if you are introverted, it's something you kind of motorsports is a really big, like, yes, you have to have the skill obviously, but there's a lot of networking involved, and the more that you can put yourself out there and present yourself, I think that it'll just bode well for you, and it'll put you in the right room at the right time.
I think something interesting you said too is like motorsports is literally like, I feel like the real world, but it's like its own world, because every job that is outside of motorsports is also like kind of in motorsports. I mean, like if you look at F1, there's chefs, there's nutritionists,
Hospitality.
like there's so many different things, hospitality, all of that. And so like literally whatever you want to do in the real world, I feel like there's a job in motorsports as well
100%.
that you have to think about.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like people don't think about that. They're like, oh, there's marketing. Yeah, you can be a driver, and like what else is there? But there's literally everything. I mean, we have
That's like,
security. Like we have rad security in F1, and there's just so many different like opportunities that people like. You have to think outside the box. That you're really good at one thing. Okay, well you can do it in motorsport probably.
Nope,
Still waiting for McLaren to take me up on personal barista for Oscar and Lando. That one might be a bit,
Keep trying.
We're still waiting.
I'll keep trying. Might as well.
We're still waiting for McLaren to take us up on the McLaren Family Game Show.
my
We've
God.
proposed it a couple times.
That's so good.
I know.
That's
it's
pretty cool.
such
Well,
a good
originally
idea.
we were like, okay, well this is when David was on the team. We're like,
David was alright.
we're like
Not anymore.
David and Pato versus, and Rossi is the host, and then versus Oscar and Lando, and then we posted that, and then Neil McLaren from FE was like, wait, we want in, and we were like, wait, this isn't happening, but if it was, you would so be in. So yeah, we'll keep checking our emails.
We're trying.
That's good. So if McLaren's watching.
Game show. Game show.
Okay.
That's it for our questions.
Yes.
for
I have a
our
fun
guests.
game though. I want to keep you guys up here for it though. Now I know that a lot of people in this room probably don't listen to us week after week, but this is kind of maybe like a little way for y'all to get to know us.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
I have a who said it game plan. McKenna will probably be really good at that. So maybe just, unless it's hard. I don't know how to differentiate whether it's Emma or Hannah, like what you should do for each, but like.
If you think it's, we'll say the quote. If you think it's Hannah, we'll say if you think it's Hannah, put up your hand. If you think it's Emma, put up your hand. Does that make sense?
I like that. That makes sense.
Okay. Here's the first one.
Did you switch them around?
I'm gonna do them out of order.
Okay.
This one's actually crazy. We're gonna start with a good one.
Okay.
I did write a George Weasley fan fiction.
Oh. That feels easy.
Guys, it's actually really good.
And where can we find it?
No.
One time, someone made a fan fiction. We were the
We were
interviewers.
mentioned in the fan fiction.
We were like, they did my whole intro. They're like, we're Hannah. What Talk
was
with
like
Hannah and Emma. We're interviewing like
YN.
Charles's new girlfriend. It was crazy. What? I'm not kidding. I wish I could find it. And like they
we can
put
somewhere.
pictures. Like Madison Beer was like the girl that we were interviewing, and I was like, what is going on?
We were like, yeah, it was insane.
They send it to you?
An honor.
Oh no, I think one of our followers
Yeah.
sent it to us and was like, you guys are in this Tumblr
You
thread.
definitely weren't reading it yourself, Emma.
Oh,
Oh, busted.
she also didn't write it, right?
I love a good fan fiction here and there.
Okay.
Anyway, if you think Hannah wrote it, raise your hand.
Yeah.
If it was me, it'd be Draco Malfoy, not George Weasley.
Fair.
I can't write Draco because I just love him.
I know,
Like,
I know. Okay, obviously that's Emma. Next one. I'm gonna say this one actually. Okay, the next one is, when I was a kid and I played soccer, I actually just played in the dirt.
I think that was Hannah, raise your hand.
Wait, I do think this. Yeah.
Do you?
Just me? Okay.
No.
If you think it was me who said it, raise your hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I hated soccer.
I actually played soccer.
So you played. I had.
She
half
actually
right?
played soccer. I played in the dirt.
Yeah. Okay, next. An engine hum actually puts me to sleep. Do you feel that?
Was that Hannah who said that?
That was me.
Yeah.
I fall asleep during many races.
See,
Catch
I'll
you in
like,
the grandstand on
I feel like
Sunday.
No, for real.
I like focus better. Like I'll always have like a practice
It's
session
like white
going on at
noise.
work,
Yeah.
like just in my like on the background or whatever. Doesn't put me to sleep.
I feel like it definitely puts me to sleep.
Yeah, okay.
Wait,
thank
so you're
you
driving.
So much,
I
Zoe.
know.
Hold on. This is a problem.
I don't know why.
And you're streaming.
You're so
and you're falling
unsafe.
asleep. Oh gosh.
Do you have all bad news?
Do you have your driver's license?
Oh, fun fact. I failed my permit test 3 times.
Was it for
I
speeding?
didn't study. It's a problem. I didn't go to college, so
Did you fall asleep at the wheel?
yeah.
She was
I did.
streaming.
I got in trouble, got pulled over, falling asleep, streaming on my phone.
Okay, my next one. Oh, baby, I don't watch practice.
Is that Hannah who said that? I think it was me that said that.
No, it was me.
It was Hannah. Hannah doesn't
Yeah.
watch practice.
Never.
She
Absolutely
falls asleep.
never.
So
Yeah. The less I have to fall asleep during, the better.
yeah, fair.
I appreciate the purpose of practice, but
I used to watch
just-
practice sessions and then
It's just hard for me.
well then
It's
I
a
got
lot.
I also got
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
When you're already
It's a
committing to
lot.
qualifying and a race,
Yeah.
I'm like, I
And
just
then you
can't.
have F1 and IndyCar, and it's a lot.
and Sail GP.
Oh
like,
my
oh my god. Like
Whoa, left field.
I literally
love
just ruined
Sail
one.
oh sorry. Just say it nice.
Emma said, you know what I don't understand the rules of? Sail GP.
I don't. I
No,
don't
but that's
get it.
fair.
I don't get it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, what?
What
You
is
what?
it?
Sail
Sail
GP?
Like a sailboat?
Like
Yeah.
sailing.
They go like,
Like
Grand Prix?
80 miles an
Sail.
hour.
I
Yeah.
was
And
just
sometimes they
using
capsize.
so much brain power to try and figure out what you guys were talking about. I was
Sailboats.
like,
Sail like sailing.
If
Like,
you've never
well,
seen Sail GP, go watch some
It's
clips. It's crazy.
wild.
They have a start line that you come up to at speed and you have to time it. And if you're early, you get a penalty. But you don't want to lose speed.
But
It's
then you
wild.
have to like go. I don't get it. I don't understand how it works. That is my
What are you holding?
They're not little sailboats.
Oh,
These are huge
sorry.
sailboats.
tiny willpower.
You've been flailing him around the whole pond.
He was in my pocket, so I just took him out. He's here as our 4th guest for the
I
night.
meant to announce him as like our super secret like 4th guest, and then I forgot about him. So now
What does
he's
he
just-
think? What does he
Guys.
think of that? Real willpower, big willpower. What does he think of little willpower?
He loves
He
it.
loves
Stay
it.
tuned for our
He
social
loves it.
channels this week.
Yeah.
They did a collab video together today.
Really?
Have you ever like pretty much willpower is giving himself a pep talk
Yeah,
To Tiny
to
Will.
tiny willpower? So stay tuned. For
It was
that.
very good.
have to find that.
Okay, next one. I love 2 things: Love Island and British Boys.
Oh, this is a hard one.
I think that was Emma that said that. Me?
No.
I think that was Hannah. It was Hannah.
Yeah.
It was Hannah. I
love
do
Love
love
Island.
British Boys, but I don't watch Love Island.
I love Love Island.
Shame.
Well, you made me watch it.
It was a good season. Okay.
There weren't even any British boy. It was American.
Well, that's
There's
the
British
USA.
boys on Love Island.
There was.
There was. Miguel.
Aaron was British.
And
Ooh,
Aaron.
Miguel.
Yeah, he's blonde though.
We don't talk about Aaron. Shush. No one talk about Aaron.
All right.
Okay.
Not into blonde. Sorry. Go.
Okay, right. Next one. And second place on Crush Tracker this week, Lando Award. If you think Emma said it, put your hand up.
Lando Award?
Guys.
I didn't say it.
I don't
She
even
said
understand
it.
Wait,
what are
can
you
you say
talking
that one more
about?
time?
No. Yeah. That
That was
was
not
the
a
quote.
mistake. Well, it is.
That's a sentence?
Yeah.
She
Okay.
did say it during a podcast.
So she said it.
Emma
Oh, I
did
said
say
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not good with words. Okay.
Good
Also,
job,
no.
James.
Okay. I mentioned this on the podcast before. Okay. Can you just raise your hand if you're like a One Direction girly? Thank you. Do you guys ever get like?
Oh, I know. This is no one's gonna agree with you.
Okay,
This
so
is nuts.
this is nuts. Do you guys, if you ever go to say Lando or type it, do you ever say Niall? Okay, just a me thing. Got it. Cool.
Just an Emma thing.
It makes
Never
me
mind.
laugh every time you say that because it's been a problem since day one of this podcast.
But it's the same like the Lando Norris Niall Horn, like they sound the same.
With the last name, I can see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
But Lando,
We're here to support
just
you.
for Niall.
yeah, one
I
more.
don't-
This is a good one.
Last quote.
Is Chip Ganassi a man? I thought Chip Ganassi was a brand of chocolate chip cookies.
The Chip Ganassi chocolate chunk.
Do you think I said it?
That could be either.
You think Hannah said it? Yeah, Hannah said it.
Yeah.
I was so convinced because that was last year and Marcus Erickson was running with the Husky chocolate and I was like, chocolate chip, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And now every time we see him, the man,
We're just like,
we always go,
chocolate chip.
chocolate chip, chocolate chip, chocolate chip.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you for playing along. We've learned that I'm not good with words. Hannah likes British boys. And I hope you learned something from our lovely guests here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
Can I
us.
say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to apologize to the Dale Coyne crowd.
A public apology. Live.
This is a public amends.
I can't wait to tell them this tomorrow.
No, you will not. No.
Spicy.
They're gonna have me on a poster like this girl's not allowed. Dale Coyne.
If you open up your
Oh, you guys are also with Dale Coyne? Oh my God, there's a lot of you.
I will see a post on Instagram.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. You guys. I'm
YouTube with a ukulele.
Okay, just before we end things, I just want to say a couple of thank yous. So, first of all, thank you to our guests here for joining us today.
You guys are
Really
so
appreciate
good.
that.
Thank you.
I want to thank Sarah, who goes by Offey on Track.
Bracelet
making,
Queen.
Bracelet Queen, and then Andy as well, Red Racer Books, for helping us get plays. I want to thank the Barista Parlor team and the lovely drinks that they created and having us use the space. Oh, Josh created the drinks.
No, it was Christian and I collaborated. It was a dual effort. But
Amazing.
they made everything.
They were
That
amazing.
ice cream,
Like
if you had the
everything,
one drink,
yeah.
was made from scratch. That's crazy on like a 2-day notice. So that
Like,
team
amazing.
is crazy.
Yes, and for
That's all I
using the
say.
space as well. And then we also want to thank the FanAmp team, Greg and Kaitlin. Kaitlin, stand up, please. I would still be in Winnipeg if it weren't for Kaitlin.
That's true.
Like, we would not be here.
Well, fuck me, I guess.
Sorry. So the FanAmp team just has been so great to work with, and Kaitlin has organized absolutely everything that we are doing this
She's
weekend.
gotten us from point A to point B all day
Yes.
and will for the next 3.
And thanks for all of you for coming, for hanging out with us, for maybe making some bracelets. Check out the books. I'm buying a book for
Me
my
too.
sister who is eventually going to have a kid. So that'll be a great gift.
And if you don't follow Track Talk, go follow Track
Oh my
Talk.
God, yeah, guys, follow us. Track Talk Pod, or on Instagram, is that it?
Tracktalk.pod.
Tracktalk.pod
Yeah.
on Instagram. Thank you.
If you don't have FanAmp on your phone, download it. You can talk to them all day, every day.
Yes, yeah.
Really heck out of them.
So there's the barcodes or QR codes on the table. You can download the FanAmp app, and we always chat in there during race weekends. F1, IndyCar, and FE. Maybe SailGP in the future. Okay, thank you guys so much for coming
Thanks
out
so
tonight.
much, everybody.
Yay!
You're so